Hi, chaps. Thought I wanted to show you something about this case report that you've probably never quite fathomed. Basically, as super users, it's available to you. So I just want to show you about it. So I'm just going here to closed cases, but I want to reduce this list to just Project 100. So I just find some example of Project 100. You can see at the moment all the cases 3869. If I click on Project 100 now, this is reducing it down to the 575 closed cases in Project 100 to report on as the basis of the report. However, we can go further. So now you click on reports and click on case report. Now, with the case report, you've got some variables here that you can choose, but I'm not interested in looking at follow-up at this point, okay? So I'm choosing any clients who, in this period of time, 1st of April 22, when Project 100 started, to today's date, because obviously there's people still going through. And I can say I want to look at all closed planned cases, all closed unplanned cases, and I'll include open cases. So these are people who are currently still in treatment at the moment. So you can see there's a lot of control over what you want to show here. Now, we then choose GAD7 and PHQ9 as the first two because of the way it's all calculating. This will pair them together to show their combined scores. And you can have PCL5, but you'll see on some of the outputs, sometimes I've done core 10, so I could copy in the core 10 results as well. So then you go run, and this simply runs really quickly. You download the file, and then you've got the file. So now I'm going over to the file actual results to show you what those results actually look like. Let me just close that. Okay, so this is the workbook I'm sharing with you now. And let's go through these tabs one at a time. So start over on the extreme left. So the extreme left, I'm looking at closed planned endings, okay? And I was referring to this earlier this morning. So we've got GADS, and up here it tells you the basis of the report. So this is based on sessions, screening, assessment, therapy, completion, closed planned endings, and the date range, 1st of April to the 22nd of October. Did this yesterday. Now, it shows you the clients who were measured with a GAD7, PHQ9, and Core 10. So you can see actually there were some more clients who were measured with a GAD7 who didn't complete the PHQ9, etc. And then there was 395 who had both. So the report is based on that. You can see the recovered came out at just over 50%, and then reliably recovered a little bit less, just under 50%. So basically, half of the clients who stay to an agreed ending and that we have measures for show a reliable recovery rate of just under 50%. And then the reliable improvement rate here is in row 14, and you can see it's 74.5%. So I wanted to show you this because you can at any time go in and look over any time period at this case report. And I've double checked it to make sure it's all being calculated correctly. And it is. Now, what I've next done, the next tab along, as you can see, closed planned endings are those clients who stage to an agreed planned ending, right? And the numbers are very, very high. But then if I go to just all closed cases, right? So now the difference is that you've got different numbers now. You can see there's more numbers because these are including people who staged for any sort of an ending. they got to an ending in treatment. And so you can see, even with the, like, there's 495 have a GAD-7 at first time one, and 503 have a core 10 at time one. So there were some cases, just a few here, who didn't complete the other measures, but did still complete the core 10. And this sort of shows the value of the core 10, really. Now you can see that the reliable improvement rate comes down and the recovery rate comes down a little bit, down to 45.7% for reliable recovery. And the recovered figure is slightly higher. Now, if we go then to look at, let's look at the open cases. So these are the people who are still in treatment. Now, obviously, you would expect those results to be much poorer because they're still in the process. That many of them may have just started treatment relatively recently. And so, sure enough, the recovery rates are now way down to 27 and 26%, reliable improvement rates at 58%. So you get the idea. Now, I also here did follow-up. So this is to look at any cases who were both screened and assessment and followed up at any of these time points. So it's just looking at the follow-up data. So you can see that follow-up data is available for smaller numbers of clients. Obviously, look here, 165, 159, etc. So, you know, somewhere around 25%. And you can see that the recovery rates are broadly similar. It's quite interesting that the reliable improvement rates are down a little bit. But these are all just different ways of looking at the data. Now, when you look at all open and closed combined, you can see that about 621 clients were included in the Project 100, right? Of which 612 had a GAD-7, and then slightly smaller numbers had PHQ-9s and PCL5s, etc. Now, remember this number of 621 here for core 10. Now, the last thing I did was look at all clients. This is all Project 100 clients and any other clients that we had measures available for. So now you can see there was actually 782. So if you subtract 621 from 782, let me do it. So 782 minus 621 equals 161. So there's 161 clients who were not included in Project 100. That represents about 20%. So 20% of the clients that we saw over that period of time did not get included in Project 100 for a whole variety of reasons, to do with therapists, to do with clients, etc., etc. So I'm bringing this up because it's one of those things. We're defining exactly what we do, but trying to make comparisons with IAPT, because, you know, people are screened and they're deemed to be unsuitable for IAPT, or they're referred to other services, etc., etc. We don't know what happens to them. It doesn't mean that nothing happens to them, but we don't know precisely what does happen to them. They're assessed and deemed not appropriate for IAPT. So one has to be careful about what one says, because we're not making exact comparisons. The only way this could really happen is if one day we were lucky enough to secure an IAPT service, and we would be the PTSD Resolution IAPT service. Now, that would be amazing. But then we could make an absolutely fair comparison. But you can see there's problems, as well as the fact that, you see, IAPT talk about open and closed cases, because if they're measured a second time, they're deemed to be a completer. Now, this, of course, does throw out the results somewhat. And you can see that here when I include all open and closed cases, it reduces the figures a bit, you see. The other thing IAP does is if they have missing data, so somebody was measured at time 1, but they're not included at time 2, they deem those clients to be unchanged. We don't report the data like that. We only report when there are second measures available. So you can see, for example, here, 581 to 506. So there's like 79, whatever it is, 9 clients who are not included because the measures aren't available for them. So one has to be very careful, and that's why I'm very cautious about it. Okay, I hope that's not too long-winded an explanation and helps you somewhat. Thank you.